This is my Quran Commentary During Ramadan of 1436. In the 9th month of that year, I thought to write a comment about each of the 30 ajiza of Al-Quran. I hope that these poems will give their readers correct ideas about the content of the revealed scripture of this age. So, listeners, Jews 1. From the 1st of the 9th month of 1436, with 19 letters, I invoke 4 times and invoke 3 times. It starts with a mystery and the doubt that can only be with me. We should take heed of what we see and hear while they are around. Let's not be afraid of the message of death and an afterlife in sound and light. More than a list of 10 commandments came in the first night. Jews 2, also from the 1st of the 9th month of 1436. Righteousness is not merely the outer form. God consciousness is not only the inner form. If these first 6 verses of love by and for God were all there were, that would be enough. Strive beyond pilgrimage, fasting, charity, prayer, and a pure creed, for the world is not enough. Jews 3, and this was written on the 2nd of the 9th month of 1436. Love and obedience of the messenger of God covers 2 of the 5 more of these verses. Believe in God, light beings, messenger prophets, not inventing distinctions, not discriminating between prophets, moral karma, and final judgment, more than mere lore a believer rehearses. Help from the force of misbelieving or ungrateful people, and to show faith in pure monotheism are acceptable curses. Come with aversion to what truly nurses. So, even if you're Rakhal, you should come. Jews 4, from the 3rd of the 9th month, 1436. Herein are 8 additional. One is of how some love is not conditional. Hypocrisy is so very criminal. War is not War is not allowed for what is merely national. Other matters are transitional. Give and get what you love in your personal compositional. We are to be as one, and were as one as we began. It's all very classical. Jews 5, from the 4th of the 9th month of 1436. I see you respecting the circles of relations, and not excusing the guilty as two. In Al-Quran, there is no distinction, nor discrepancy for you. Here is how to treat women and children, and how they shouldn't treat you. Responsibility for more than just for those in blue. Responsibilities for more than just those in blue. Okay. There is even rights for those who say to religion, I'm through. Jews 6, also from the 4th of the 9th month of 1436. Not for most mentions of evil are warmongering and mischief-making. for keeping covenants, for refusing judgment, or judging equitably are 3 of 5. God will find loved ones who love Him and religion without forbidding the wholesome things, or a couple things to be content with while we are still alive. With goodly women of the people of Scripture, based on a true prophet of God's revelation, a believer can take a dive. Forbidden methods are sometimes to be excused when needed to strive, when needed to survive. Forbidden methods are sometimes to be excused when needed to survive. Someone of another path getting food ready by itself is no reason to deprive. Choose 7 from the 5th of the 9th month of 1436. Continually purify and exalt yourself is another. Recreational drug use is a risk to your brother. In the face of Satan's handiwork, I'd rather. Favors to one can also be for his mother. To be sent back to life should be no one's druther. I'll live a better life in the next incarnation. Liar. Choose 8 from the 5th of the 9th month of 1436. To delay charity and waste it would be a sin. Divine love is also not for the extremism of consumerism. The best things in life are allowed herein. A third is the prohibition of religious extremism. Why do people seek tolerance for such a degree of sin? Before, behind, to the right, and to the left will come the satanic jinn. Choose 9. From the 6th of the 9th month of 1436. Leave those misusing the best names and become a listener. Humbly contemplate an Al-Quran and be a meditator. Go out of your place when the effort requires you to be a traveler. War spoils are only extra and actions are just a means to the fighter. A true prayer is not being performed by a musical instrument conductor. I only want to end unnecessary trials, taking God as an excellent helper. Jews 10, also from the 6th of the 9th month of 1436. Divine love is not for treachery. Those who have not acted against you directly nor indirectly have no reason to flee. Another verse of love refers to how masajid are to be part of every treaty. Not loving 8 less than striving in God's cause is another to keep from thee. Masjid al-Haram is only for monotheists now, and don't fear poverty. And, jihad fi sabilillah is what's meant by striving against God's cause. That's how the Arabic. And a masajid means mosques. So the only masajid that's banned from the disbelievers is Masjid al-Haram. Choose 11. People swear falsely in order for the just to turn to them. Al-Arab can be just as full of hypocrisy, arrogance, and sin. God doesn't love sectarian houses of worship and banned al-Muslimin from entering them. His love is for people to purify and become willing to give up the things of this life for the cause herein. You should have your faith increased with every rank. Don't pretend you don't know about each chapter, just be frank. None but God is capable, so that's who you should thank. Juz 12, from the 7th of the 9th month of 1436. Thou shalt not suffer from separation, but turn to the most merciful, most loving. A boy prophet saw 11 planets, the sun and the moon, when he was dreaming. Then Yusuf was established in Egypt. For his development and learning, he was saved through fear of God from a wicked woman's longing. Even in persecution, he was looked to for his great understanding. Before attaining a position of authority, you may need vindicating. Juz 13, also from the 7th of the 9th month of 1436. Yusuf was placed in charge of the results of the harvesting. Younger brothers are often to be the ones who are teaching. The immoral like to pretend till it comes time for the punishing. They look for a sign, but have had more than sufficient warning. Signs in nature and previous scriptures were for universal refining. God, through his messengers, was continually promising. Monotheism and goodness came through, all shining. Juz 14, also from the 7th of the 9th month of 1436. The heavens have been guarded and adorned for you and me. Refusing to prostrate with al-malaikatu was every al-jinni. Render devotional service until the final certainty. Be like a cow, in that there is benefit to more than your belly. Follow the lesson of the bee. Then heal yourself with another sort of honey. Juz 15, from the 8th of the 9th month of 1436. The night journey from Baca to Mount Moriah was more than a mere vision. That which was shown in the cursed tree is our criterion. Then comes a couple verses for traveling or consecration. Al-Quran was sent to heal more than every incision. The spirit is more than what you can envision. Some who know the more ancient wisdom have made the right decision. To practice these 10 verses for the end times might take a revision. Let truth be accepted or denied at will. The results with show their division. Juz 16, from the 8th of the 9th month of 1436. Al-Qidr's story was a special example of what was done with a hole, a boy, and a wall. It was not a universal example of how the disciple treats the initiator they employ. Down from the Eurasian steppe, they will come forth once and for all. Then come 10 verses for protection against Masih ad-Dajjal, the false Messiah. The generations of the pious prostrated, and this is cosmological. For the orthodox and the orthoprax is a love from God that is mythical. God grants a love that starts off as psychological and extends to the sociological. And by mythical is like ideology, but a connection to something spiritual. It doesn't have anything to do with it not being true. Even the Bible uses this correlation. A fable is something you make up. A myth is something that's full of meaning or use. And orthodox is correct belief. Orthopraxis, correct action. Jews 17. From the night of the 9th month of 1436. Herein is a chapter with 16 prophets. Then comes the prostrations of each in their sockets. Bow and prostrate again, for it goes on your dockets. Strive in God's reality as you should struggle, for it profits. God tells you to obey, if you would. The flesh and the blood is not what will relieve. Divine love is for the defending of those who believe. Fighting is in self-defense and on the side of those who are wronged. It is also to protect the houses of worship of those who are not with you thronged. Jews 18, also from the 9th of the 9th month of 1436. The believers are those who lead a certain life. There is prayer, a lack of vanity, charity, chastity, modesty, and keeping from what is rife. We seek refuge from the whispers and impact of evil before death cuts in like a knife. We gain the love and forgiveness of God. To gain the love and forgiveness of God is my will. Consenting adults may be guilty, but it is no reason to kill. To each outer circle of relation, she observes some degree of veil. Lower the gazes are your vessel of divine light might take a spill. Take to a religion that us not Eastern or West, that is not Eastern or Western, and saves you from hell. Not south of Jerusalem, the hell realms of the afterlife. Jews 19, from the 10th of the 9th month of 1436. Who is the most gracious that I should know him? The mention of making prostrations increases their aversion. The mention of making prostrations increases their aversion. Yeah, I used the different in the different poems. Aversion, the opposition for, the flipping of it. Anyways, who is the most gracious that I should know him? The mention of making prostrations increases their aversion. What is now 19 letters started a letter to make. Who is the most gracious that I should know him? The mention of making prostrations increases their aversion. Who is the most gracious that I should know him? The mention of making prostrations increases their aversion? What is now 19 letters started a letter to more than skim. Her people were found in a way tall should trim. Allah, there is no God but it, Lord of the throne supreme, and prostrate again. A lesser throne of this world became one of 3 signs, which led to submission to truth, beyond a mere whim. Jews 20, from the 10th of the 9th month of 1436 also. People abhor people of purity nowadays too. The places herein of what divine love is not for is too. Arrogant exaltation needs to be bade adieu. The wholesome enjoyment of this world instead of corruption is for you a sign in a spider's house rather than threads is clearer than blue. Jude 21, also from the 10th of the 9th month of 1436. Despite its listing of 2 types of aversion, then comes 3 ways to know that you love me. Soulmates and spouses are for affection and God's mercy. Before the next is a recommendation to look into history, as opposed to for ingratitude, for belief in good deeds is a supreme bounty. Among 7 verses of Luqman's advice was how God loves not for us to be proud and boasty. Also was to be moderate instead of harsh and loud. Prostrate as a result of the signs along with those who aren't proud, against the renegades that are supporting the aggressors. War is allowed. Jude 22, also from the 10th of the 9th month of 1436. Equality is between man and woman, of goodly constitution. It might be your way, but God has approved of no adoptions. We might be required to give a dowry, but the prophet was allowed some exceptions. He gave voluntary gifts. Instead of accepting his opportunity for divorce, he offered continual protection. Modesty and obedience of wives had nothing to do with the extremes of seclusion. It is right to capture and kill the diseased-hearted enemies for their oppression. The establishment of truth is the undoing of the falsehood that starts not, nor brings forth resurrection. 2, 3, 4, or more are the wings of the light beings or unfallen angels of this creation. Don't worship them or other than God, for it is not their decision. The heart of the Quran starts here. Beyond all delusion. Jude 23, from the 11th of the 9th month of 1436. With linguistic miracles and formally curious claims about the sun and moon, every sign to the heedless is treated like it came too soon. There are those arrayed in ranks, and those who exercise. Blame the ones who are to be blamed, for we all will arise. There are no sons or daughters of God, and no Lord besides. Dawood had 99% surety and 1% doubt. Prostrate like he did, repenting and throwing such judgments out. Shiver from these pages in ecstasy without a doubt. Be thankful for 8 pairs and 3 stages of pregnancy. Avoid all evil and don't give yourself too much leniency. Jude 24, from the 12th of the 9th month of 1436. How can anyone accuse lying? How can anyone excuse lying against Allah? There are not the ones who decide true law. Yusuf was not the last messenger against sin. Musa and others came with that message again. Earth of air is the materialization. Black and yellow is where there is prostration. In the day in the night are many a sign. There are plenty who face the right shrine. Before and behind are the proofs that are fine. Thus, we leave 19 out of 22 behind. Jews 25. From the 13th of the 9th month of 1436. Not all mercy from God is deserved. Haven't you just been served? The verses of Mukatadat Arfawate are some of those which I've learned. Divine love is not for exceeding equal recompense, and for forgiveness is something you've earned. Devotees of God as demigods is only something you've been told. People hated daughters for themselves, but thought that of God in days of old. More would have disbelieved were they to have more silver and ornaments of gold. We shouldn't accept whatever comes in the nights of ordainment. Well, we should accept whatever comes in the nights of ordainment. I won't wait till the smoke comes. In this afterlife for the next, I have sold. Willfully now, I'll kneel and reflect. I will not wait for the nations to reflect. So I'm going to pick it up. No, that's different. I messed that up a little bit. Belwate, is opening. Mukat Ta'at is the separated letters. Aleph, Lam, Mim, those sorts of ones. We should accept whatever comes in the nights of ordainments. The nights of power. Jews 26. From the 13th of the 9th month of 1436, their permanence is as hills of sand. People took the indirect approach in many a foreign land. Goodwill will be the condition of those who believe in what came to Muhammad and act it out with each hand. No La ilaha illallah. There's nothing to worship but God in the singular form. And seek forgiveness for those sins on remand. Ultimately, it is God whom with we take hand. The tranquility and angelic presence under the tree is far from bland. Muhammadu Rasulullah. Muhammad is God's sent one. Is in hand. Lower yourself in the face of inspired words that are grand. God's messenger didn't bow to popularity and was a peacemaker who gained divine love as planned. The mountain of Qaf stands before me. The mountain of Qaf stands before me. May the scattering winds and coming trial spare the soul in me. Jews 27. Also from the 13th of the 9th month of 1436. The purpose of life is, the reason is, our response is, another mountain is mentioned, and a scroll is no longer in a frizz. The ascent to the inhabited house is a whiz. The greatest of signs are not truth to rearrange. To undo the cult of the three crones to them seems strange. In water of earth, align with a self-motivated change. The mention of how people saw the split is after blue and black. Miracles are more than evil magic. 31 reminders are the same number as the verses with jinn. Divine qualities in their firmness are what we should let in. That pride and boasting that is no part in divine love is what we shall not begin. Now, the day I wrote these things, it would have came out smoother and maybe with a beat or something to it. I mean, you know, a style to it. Juz 28. From the 14th of the 9th month of 1436. God hears the concern of the significant other. Tarot trump 6 is more like spiritual brother and sister than lovers. Surah 59 ends with the names of the holy other. Enemies can develop love for each other, for God has that power. With those who haven't acted against you, our religion, it is not forbidden to pass various hours. Women are to be tested before they are taken as wives. Why would you want someone who won't listen to you as far as what is good and fair in your lives? God loves those who act in his cause in solid ranks. God will forgive you and provide what you love. Won't you bank? The message is to be understood and lived. Why won't you think? People bear false witness that you don't know. What do they think? We face trials, and our exaltation and degradation is on the brink. Divorce has its rules, and don't forbid the lawful things for the sake of those who were girls. And, you know, that lesson about the spiritual brother and sister, and there's sort of a pair I didn't really realize till this year. 58:22 and 59:9 are sort of mirror verses of that same spiritual community, the love of the spiritual community between the spiritual community. This was, you know, the same, the mattock, the nail or sword. This is that verse. I mean, this is that card, and I didn't notice there was kind of, you know, so it's a more complete picture than I expected. Juz 29 from the 16th of the 9th month of 1436. Death and loss is more obvious. Death and loss is a more obvious test than increase in life. Accusations of and attempts to drive the believers insane are rife. An inevitable reality will come, and sight will bear the holy throne, and 8 will bear the holy throne. An inevitable reality will come, and 8 will bear the holy throne. Light beings and the spirit have a 50,000-year day of ascent. Those worshippers of Wada, male, love, Suwa, female, Yaguth, liner, bull, Yasup, horse, and Nasser, eagle, vulture, or falcon, were cut off in their descent. Fire beings were and are not all demons, for to them also were the prophets sent. One wrapped out of fear was bid to stand, enveloped one should shun the idols with each hand. From first breath to the throes of death, prepare to shine before God in what's left. Humanity existed for a period of prehistory to give out of love of God, out of love of God, out of what you love should be no mystery. Woe and ninefold woe again to the deniers of that day foreshadowed by history. Jews 30. From the 17th of the 9th month of 1436. I might try to write at least one line per surah. Yeah, perhaps. Jews 30 from the 17th of the 9th month of 1436. Have you heard the great news? Before souls are separated from bodies, they can choose. There could have been guidance for them, so don't turn away. The sun will expand to the place of the moon, and its light will be taken away. There are quasars, pulsars, and dark celestial bodies that are like a hole that sweeps away. Halocium Padion. Halocene fields. Iliun, proper high places for the pious, awaits those without the blot of Aran, the results of actions of evil and ignorance that remains. On them, on their last day, I prostrate with air of earth in my aspiration. A tower in the heavens forms, and God is most loving, most forgiving, beyond any ambition. There are stars that knock and give off piercing rays to bring me from plots to decision. Glorify, as that was in previous scriptures. You'll be overwhelmed and brought to the reckoning with all the creatures. 10 nights, and even an odd, a soul at peace will rise from sod. Here is the example of a city, of how you can be free beyond pity. There are the chosen ways to make souls more pretty, or make them gritty. Through the night, day, male and female, the ease can come to the path you've been swaying. In the brightening of day and darkening of night, about your Lord relate your sayings. Temporal and spiritual enlightenment come thanks to God. We start in the best of states, so hold to that rod. Earth of earth, white and black, smit and continually manifesting a force that is not odd. There's a night that counts more than 83 1/3 ordinary years. Sectarianism happens after there is the proof that clears. Every little bit counts in the time when earth itself will bear witness. Go forth as one with all your physical and spiritual fitness. With the loudest of sounds the hour strikes. A materialistic and hedonistic pleasure seeking should make you say, yikes! All are losers, except those who believe, practice, and encourage good things. With slander, backbiting, and sinful acquiring of wealth, you won't like what it brings. Through nature God defends. Let them worship for the means and the ends. Denial of the correct way of life is neglecting contact prayers and others. Prayer and sacrifice is called for to earn that abundance of Al-Kawthar. Others won't accept another system of judgment, so allow it. When many step to the right path, don't get lax or abandon it. By name was the mention of whom did verbal and physical abuse, and the curse of it. The purest of monotheism, pantheism, and atheism is here with no contradiction in it. Refuge is with God from the bad and chosen evils by creation. Accept God as being in the top positions and avoid the complications of inner and outer temptations. So I don't know, maybe next year I'll do that and write a piece, 114 different pieces. Maybe just a couple lines a piece, maybe 4-liners, I don't know, or some may differ in the length, but we'll have to see.